and welcome. A very good evening to all of you. You're watching NewsX. I'm Megha Sharma and this is Who's Winning 2024, the battle for Delhi. I'm here after the elections for Phase 6 have been completed. The 7 constituencies of Delhi have finally voted. And I'm at Vijay Chowk right now. This is South Block behind me. And let's start off our discussion because we are talking about the issues that Delhiites have faced, issues on the basis of which they have cast their vote. And the big question about whether the politicians, our netas, our leaders have raised these important questions, have promised the people of Delhi that they are going to not just keep the promises but also take further a goal that is going to be visionary for the state of Delhi. It is also important to note the past report card of the previous governments, whether it is Aam Aadmi Party at the assembly level, but more importantly the Lok Sabha, where all the 7 sitting members of parliament are of the BJP. Have they done enough? Let's start my conversation. And joining me on the telecast right now is Padma Shri Dr. Sanjeev Bagai. Thank you so much, sir, for joining me on the telecast over here. And the first point that I'm going to ask all of my guests, and starting with you, about what are the key issues on the basis of which that you went to the poll station today and cast your vote.
Good evening everyone. I think the most important points in which actually are the determinant factor for most people who've cast the vote today. One is the level of trust which we have in the local government in Delhi. According to me, it is low. I mean, the last 10 years have been misgovernance, it's been distrust, it's been a pretense more rather than deliverance, and I think they portrayed themselves as gatekeepers of morality and ethics and honesty and so on and so forth, but I think it's turned out to be contrary. The second important point, which is a very important determinant factor, is the water crisis all through the year, not only in summer months. Delhi Jal Board is in a huge crisis mess. Point number 3 is the overall law and order. I think we need a lot more attention paid to it. Point number 4 is the traffic. I think there is no overall long-term vision plan which at least we have seen, either in terms of public transport or digitalized monitoring of the traffic, improvement of the roads. Point number 5 is healthcare. I think we've seen no significant, at least in the local state government hospitals, added on number of beds. In the acute crisis of Delta wave, when people wanted ventilators, we needed oxygen tanks, we needed oxygen supply, and there was a sheesh mail being created at that time. Nothing can be more cruel to the Delhi citizens than that.
Okay.
And 2 last points. One is pollution. I think no one has spoken of pollution in the manifestos the way it should be in terms of climate control. It's all through the year, not only winter. And waste management. I think the waste management and plastic hazards is something which the local governments need to pay attention very, very urgently. Over to you.
Sharat Kohli, senior economist, also on the telecast with me, and Mr. Kohli, the point that have been raised by him, should I be assuming that all those issues are also on the basis of which Delhiites have voted and you particularly have voted? And one point that he raised about how the local governance has been a factor. But does Delhi vote for Lok Sabha elections, keeping in mind local concerns and vice versa?
Well, thank you so much, Megha. If you ask me, the Delhi voter ideally gets a little confused because there are 7 MPs to be elected. A lot of people in Delhi, you'll be surprised, do not still know the line of distinction between what centre manages and what state manages. Although by now, thanks to the frequent brawls which happen, people have gradually come to know that healthcare and education a little bit is in the hands of the local government. Infrastructure to a certain extent in the hands of centre, in the hands of local government as well. But one thing is very sure, which you said, that people have been sharply disillusioned by the local government, which came to power with the big claim of honesty, giving clean a new kind of politics. So all that has been thrown out of the window as we stand and talk today. We all know what is happening. You have a chief minister who's pretty much in a jail. He's out on, let me call it on sort of a parole, and he's going to go back to jail. So a city-state mega, which is being run by a local government from a prison. I think that itself speaks volumes of where the things are. Now, as far as Delhiites' expectations are, I would definitely like to speak on that. I think Dr. Bagai spoke of pollution, but I think he must have missed it mentioning in the beginning, because pollution is now becoming a summer problem as well. It used to be a typical winter problem, but now we see pollution as a proper summer problem, which means effectively that apart from a couple of months of rains or monsoons or strong winds, we are facing pollution across the board. So I think when Delhiites went there today, obviously they wanted, most of them wanted BJP, and from what I could feel the pulse. But then at the end of the day, they also came back a little confused at whether this local government is still going to stay. Are they still going to be in fight with the central government? Are they going to keep reversing the decisions of the central government? Are they not going to obey? Is there going to be complete anarchy in Delhi? So I think that is what the voter meant in mind. But a lot of hope out of voting for BJP that probably this grueling process is going to end at some point.
A lot of interesting points. Indol Sengupta, historian and author, also on the show with me as a citizen of Delhi who went out to vote today. And there were a number of issues that were raised by Dr. Bagai, by Sharat Kohli as well. The point being, have these local issues actually been raised by our politicians? Because any of the speeches that I heard, there was no mention of pollution. There was no mention of these garbage landfills. There was no mention whatsoever of the traffic jam situations. There was no mention of healthcare and education. So what were our politicians selling us?
No, number one, I think there are 2 or 3 things to mention. Yeah, number one, a Lok Sabha election is not fought on local issues. We must understand that. Now, an allied point to that is, do we really have that distinction between local elections and central elections in Delhi? And the fact is, as my co-panelists were saying, this is really a grey area. This grey area is not helping the city of Delhi. The capital of the 5th largest economy in the world, which aims to become the 3rd largest economy by 27-28, cannot have a situation where no one is quite sure on any given day who is really in charge. Is the chief minister in charge? Is the lieutenant governor in charge? Who's really in charge? This is really a ridiculous joke on the people of Delhi and indeed the people of the country. If the capital is so badly managed, what hope do we have for the rest of the country? Also, you mentioned the landfill. You know, it's really a glaring irritant and a joke upon us that the Ghazipur landfill continues to burn. We are sending the cheapest Mars mission and Moon mission. We cannot clear a landfill in Delhi. So really, let's be honest, let's be candid here. Actually, not a single party has a true vision for what Delhi ought to be. The last person, let me be candid as somebody who's lived in Delhi for most of my adult life. The last person who had a semblance of a plan for Delhi was Sheila Dikshit. After Sheila Dikshit, no matter which party you support today, if you're a Delhiite who's lived in Delhi for a long time, hand on heart, you cannot deny that the last person who had some idea of what they were doing was Sheila Dikshit. After that, it's been steady downhill.
Interesting. I have with me Major General K.K. Sinha as well, defense expert. And sir, an important point raised by Hindol and the other panelists as well about this friction that continues to happen between the center and the state, and the center having a large stake in terms of the control over the state government, and this friction over lieutenant governor and the state government has sort of caused a lot of problems for Delhi, for Delhiites. Delhiites are the ones who have to suffer. It's not the state government, it's not the central government. So how should the politicians end this tussle? Because it is for the welfare and well-being of the people of Delhi. It is not about winning the election and becoming chief minister or becoming member of parliament.
Thank you very much, and Jai Hind to everyone and to your viewers. You have asked me a question which is related to, not Indian perspective, but a perspective which you have got, where you are bringing, center and the federal structure of the country. We have to understand one, and because this is related to that, you have been asking, that how, the voters of Delhi has gone and, casted the vote, and what they want exactly, which has got a local angle, it has got an Indian perspective, it has a global angle, and it has got all other paraphernalia like the climates and all has been brought out. Now you are asking a question specific to me, that the relation between the lieutenant governor, you brought it out, and with the the people, the chief minister, because Delhi has got in a unique way where there is a lieutenant governor, which is actually in a structure where the federalism is not fully has come up, because it has to be integrated. If you go to other state, you do not find this setup. in India, and especially in Delhi, this setup is there. Now, how it can, because there is a tussle, because certainly, if there is not the synergy, and I being from defense, there is a synergy requires if you want to have a progress and clear aim. If you have got tussle at the highest leadership, you will find things bad. Let me finish it. I will give you this answer, because give me 1 minute, because you have given everyone. When we talk about in an election like this, where you are actually voting pan-India. When I say pan-India, an Indian perspective, because you have to see what central government you want to have. As the central government, whether you want to have the continuity, you want to have change. When everything is going in Indian way, especially after 2017, I say, when I say, because I'm a geostrategically I'm talking about. I'm talking about which has got emergence of India. If you want to have a break, then you will have to think differently, because now you are going to have a continuity where the India is emerging. People talked about that we are, position 5th as far the economy is concerned, militarily, because comprehensive national power. When you, have a nation has got comprehensive national power, it is not only the economic of 3rd position. It has got many factors and perspective where you have to address. And people like us, because people are listening to you, people listen to you, you have to select a government which in the world that we are progressing will take it not from the 3rd position, probably because people are talking about.
What you're basically saying is that right now it is the national issue, and if it is a national interest to become from the 5th largest economy, and we're already on the climb to become the 3rd largest economy, people of Delhi are going to keep it under consideration when they're going to cast their vote. All right, coming back to Hindol, and Hindol, you spoke about the Sheila Dikshit government and the model that was followed that brought about prosperity in Delhi, which was also appreciated by the BJP just a couple of days ago. And then Sandeep Dikshit, her son, also came out saying that we may have differences, but we respect the fact that there has been appreciation where it was due, that has been shown by the BJP, by Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Now, while the Aam Aadmi Party has been able to win the election from the Congress, and it has been able to reinstate its Chief Minister as Arvind Kejriwal, has it really gotten a hold of how administration works and how Delhi is to be run?
No, again, to reiterate, the Lok Sabha election is to choose a prime minister. So therefore, many of those issues, some would say, are perhaps, is this working anymore? No, I think it's working again. Well, some would say those issues are not the issues on which this election has been voted in Delhi. However, because of this tussle between the Lieutenant Governor and the Chief Minister, all of these issues are relevant. And the point is, Delhi is extremely badly managed. Some of my co-panelists mentioned water. Well, water is directly connected to a terrible global warming problem that Delhi has and will have in the years ahead. No one has any clue what to do about it. After all the shouting and screaming, we haven't been able to really solve the problem of burning of the wheat stock that happens every winter without fail in Delhi from Haryana and Punjab. We haven't been able to solve any of the core issues of Delhi. Delhi is one of the most mismanaged major capitals of the world, and India cannot have such a capital and have such a mismanaged capital going forward if it really wishes to grow. Okay. I must make one or two other points. The last couple of points that I want to make are the following. We have no clue in Delhi on, we still have a system which is extremely brutal and extremely corrupt as far as primary education is concerned. That entire system is deeply corrupt. We have no idea how a better schooling system will be developed in Delhi, apart from terrible private schools which cost a lot of money.
Okay.
So neither do we have a system of really good colleges coming up. So in every sector, Megha, Delhi is in a terrible mess, and no one has a clue on what to do about this.
Okay, good thing you're not speaking this in front of an Aam Aadmi Party spokesperson or a leader, because he would have taken you down, talking about how there has been education and healthcare system that has been perfected as per Aam Aadmi Party government in Delhi. All right, coming back to you, sir, Shahid Kohli, about the same issue, whether Delhi votes on national issues when it comes to the Lok Sabha elections versus the assembly elections, and how do you bifurcate it? How do you differentiate between what are the local issues, what are the national issues?
Megha, for rest of the country, Yes, what you're saying is true, and what Indol said is probably true, because you elect Lok Sabha, there you elect a Vidhan Sabha. But that's what, when I started speaking, I said because the people of Delhi, there's still a lot of people in Delhi, and Delhi has a whole lot of hybrid population. People come, there are a lot of migrants, there are a lot of people who've come from other places, they are not educated, they do petty jobs. You go and ask them, I asked them, I said, आपको मालूम है कि ये काम मोदी जी का है या केजरीवाल का है? They said, हमें तो मतलब नहीं साहब, कभी मोदी जी का समझ में आता है, कभी केजरीवाल. So that confusion is still there. So that grey area is still there. So Delhi is different. So I think if you ask me what should have been done for Delhi, a proper statehood or take it back as a union territory. Don't put it in between. That's my first point. My second point.
But is it also the reason why the centre also ends up shrugging and saying that we are not going to do it, and the Aam Aadmi Party again blames it on the BJP?
Exactly. And the plight of Delhi, which my co-panelists are mentioning, that reminds me of that very favorite term, double engine sarkar. You mentioned about Sheila Dikshit. Now when Sheila Dikshit was there was Manmohan Singh backing. So that double engine is not a hoax. It's true, it works for Congress. If it works for BJP, it works for Congress as well. So I think that double engine here has been missing for a very, very long time. Second, this local government which has been elected, Megha, this has been elected not out of honesty. It came out of honesty, but it has been surviving only out of freebies. Give them free buses, make water free, make electricity free, burn your exchequer and get the votes. That's the new way of politics. So what this government has done, if you say you've done schools, well, go to those schools, speak to the teachers, they'll tell you the truth, what has happened. Speak to the student. There is just a hype. You can go to Harvard and do a study on Delhi schools, but tell Harvard people to come to Delhi school and talk to the teachers and the students. I think you'll a whole lot of revelation is going to be there that whatever was being said was definitely untrue.
Okay, all right. Talking about the reputation of Arvind Kejriwal and Aam Aadmi Party, and at this point of time, if people were to repose faith in Aam Aadmi Party and elect its members of parliament, the question also arises is, are people at this point of time in suspicion of Arvind Kejriwal and Aam Aadmi Party, of whether they are corrupt or not corrupt, because a case at this point of time has been filed, he's been put behind bars, and even if people don't believe that he's corrupt, or at this point of time are awaiting judgment, there is still at the very same time a question that arises in their minds is that, listen, there cannot be smoke without fire, and then either way Arvind Kejriwal's image gets tarnished, and to top it all, he's gotten 1 week to fight the election, to campaign, and there comes the Swati Maliwal case, the entire controversy. Now what is true, what is not, I don't care. But today, do you think that has hindered Aam Aadmi Party and Arvind Kejriwal's momentum to then reach out to the people in the messaging that he wanted to build?
Okay, so very quickly, I think Aam Aadmi Party is its own worst enemy. I think they have self-destroyed. There is no question about it. You can't run a national, in a national capital, a government which is run on distrust. We ask for healthcare in every colony. We ask for clean air. We ask for clean water. And in every colony, we got mohalla thekas. I think the full prioritization went all wrong. I think there are courts who have decided what they have decided. A lot of the ministers are in jail, and not without a reason. I mean, there is reason behind it. I think Kejriwal image himself has taken a severe battering, and I don't think it's going to be much recovered henceforth. A final point in this, what I would like to add is, Delhi being a geopolitical, bureaucratic capital, national capital, and a very important clog in the entire wheel of India, having two separate party in governance, a central government which is BJP and an AAP government in Delhi, is not arguing well for the citizens. I think we need one unified government. I think the BJP in power should run the Delhi. It will run it much better, that's for sure. My color of my t-shirt says so. But the real fact is that we need governance. We need trust. We need to attend to the residents' issues, the citizens' issues. That has not been attended. Alcohol is not going to cure Delhi. Healthcare, education, climate control, and clean away from pollution is going to save Delhi. Over to you.
Okay. Major General K.K. Sinha, you know the same problem everybody has been talking about, but I'll give you an example. Every single time there is a problem that I have to face in getting some resolution done, whether there is water that has stopped coming in my society, in my building, or you talk about, if I have to prune the trees because they've overgrown. there are a series of nods and approvals and clearances that I have to go through, and it's not a matter of days, it's not a matter of weeks, it's a matter of months. And the file goes from one RWA to another one, and then there is the mayoral responsibilities that creep into it. There are approvals that have to be taken, and the same thing happens on a larger scale as well. When you have the Aam Aadmi Party talking about how the water scarcity issue is caused by the Haryana government, because they have stopped the Yamuna water flow into Delhi. And then you talk about pollution, because Aam Aadmi Party does not want to take responsibility for it. It says the centre has to work on it, Haryana has to work on it, Uttar Pradesh has to work on it, and Punjab have to work on it. Now here, I'm not just targeting the Aam Aadmi Party. The same sort of mentality is shown by the central government as well, particularly in dealing with Delhi. Now, we are the ones on whom the joke is. And if the people keep voting for Aam Aadmi Party at the state level and BJP at the central level, how is the solution going to be found?
Mega, very interesting question you have asked, and you have given the example of your society where there is no synergy. When there is no synergy in the center and the people who matters on the ground who are actually running the administration, security. You take the case. When the Aam Aadmi Party, Arvind Kejriwal came, he came He came through Anna Hazare. Anna Hazare was ex-army person. Through him, everyone actually thought that things are going to change. Even I thought. But the way it has been messed up, totally. And today when we see when someone talked about the double engine government, you are also talking about the synergy. Why it is not happening, you are not getting the approval? Because there is a tussle in between. Tussle to that extent, there is the national security is in danger. When the Kisan farmers agitation was going on, the country's capital was under siege and no one was able to take actions because everyone's hand was tied up because of compulsions that they have got the domain. In that domain you function, in the domain I function, we messed it up. What you are asking today, the people of Delhi, they have to decide. I'm not saying the floating population. The problem is the floating population, which Aam Aadmi Party tried to actually, take the advantage of it and gets into the power.
Okay.
The floating populations on which, but the people who matters, who are actually, who matters in Delhi is looking for what he said, double engine government. You see what happened in UP. A double engine government has come. Your all projects are through. The way the development is taking place in Delhi, I can't see that development. Even those roads, the structure which you are talking about, India is signing other than Delhi. India is signing because that the progress which is there which is in the hand wherever there is a double engine government, because there is a synergy.
Okay.
In country, in a capital like this, today we do not have synergy at the security level. We do not have synergy at administrative level. We are just talking about thing is of water.
Okay.
India is, in Delhi is sitting on the confluence of Jamuna. Ganga is coming. Ganga water is coming to Greater Noida. Now, Ganga water is coming directly to Noida, but not in Delhi.
Okay.
So these things will happen only if you get synergy, and that can be only formed with the double engine government.
Okay.
And I feel that today, because already voting has been finished, I hope that comes and actually the people enjoys the benefit and the rep that those things which have happened with the synergy, it will going to come.
Okay, all right. Hindol, you wanted to make a point.
Yeah, I want to make a point that while it is true that if the same party rules the state and the center, there are benefits that accrue. However, I do not think it is wise in a federal system like ours to always insist that governance will only happen if that is true. That's just not a fair argument. Why can't it be true that even if there is a different party ruling the center and a different one in the state, governance will happen? That is the most democratic system. And if our politicians do not have the maturity to deliver that, then that's their problem. But, we cannot make the argument that development only will happen when the same party will rule both the center and the state. That is fundamentally against the very principles of democracy upon which we were built.
Okay.
So I think we must push our politicians to build the basic governance maturity that no matter who rules the center and the state, a basic framework of working together must happen for the citizens of that place.
Okay, all right. Chara, do you want to interject?
I would like to answer because I was the one who raised that point. So obviously I should answer Indol on the fact that governance need not necessarily happen if there is a double engine government. The fact of the matter is, I agree to what he's saying in principle. But what if one of the leaders has a problem with sanity? Anything that the center has to do, he has to oppose. Anything that the center has to say, he has to call him Chauthi Paas Raja. When you get to a level which is below the standards of politics, then obviously this is going to be an outcome. So, you can't say that it's not our problem. The problem percolates down to the citizens. There are other states, Megha, where there are other governments. We take the case of Odisha. Naveen Patnaik was there for a very long time, and I don't think Odisha had any major problem with the center. Let's not get into the election bickerings which are going on. But if you see the history, they have been going on. But what if your leader or your neta, the so-called neta, tries to only do one thing: oppose and abuse? That's what my first point. Now, this Delhi government, Megha, had 2 points to make. That per capita income of Delhi is amongst the highest in the country. Now, he forgot that it is because of the policies of the center that people's per capita income has risen. Second point, he spoke about inflation, that inflation in Delhi is at the minimum. I think he forgot that the steps undertaken by the central government during and after COVID, they were responsible for bringing the inflation down. So if somebody wants to take the credit of the good things on his own head, throw away the blame on the other government, who's going to be blamed? The people are going to be affected.
Okay.
The problem will percolate down to the citizens of the country.
Okay, all right. Yes, Dr. Bugai, quickly.
Very quickly, I think the misgovernance or the lack of vision of politicians, especially in Delhi government here, the problem becomes the residents, the citizens' problem. It's not their problem. It becomes our problem.
Right.
We are the sufferers. The second important point is, please, I think it's very important to analyze and have an appraisal of the politicians' performance. As far as I'm concerned, the last 10 years, the AAP government has got a series of Fs in the report card which has failed. They have only one A, but that's not for academics. It's for alcohol.
You want to make a point, Major
Yeah, Megha, we have not understood the federalism. What is federalism? See, it doesn't mean that you're just opposition. It doesn't mean. Federalism is there where it actually creates synergy. And that's why federalism is there. In security, you can't have two views. In security, national security. In essential items, you can't have two views. There has to have one view. And healthcare, you can't have two views. In climate change, you can't have two views. That is not federalism. Federalism means that anyone can govern the state, but you have to be a meeting point for these basic things which adds to comprehensive national power of the country.
Right,
and that is what the
absolutely.
problem voters has to understand.
Okay, all right. On that note, I'm out of time, but I thank all of you for joining me, having taken out time and discussing this very important subject. We're talking about the citizens of Delhi, and this is reflection of what they think, what they feel, what are the basis of which today they went out and cast their vote. Stay tuned on NewsX, as on the other side, we are going to bring in the politicians and get their point of view and going to cross-question them about whether they have stood tall on the promises that they have made and their report cards of the last 5 years. Thanks for watching.